Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? Heads up, Arizona, this is for you. So apparently the worst place in the country to live right now is in Phoenix, Arizona. Because there's a record number of struggling locals that are actually lining up at food banks just to eat right now. And the latest figures are showing that Phoenix is still the hardest hit city with a 12.1% inflation rate. And as a result, the food bank there, one of the food banks there, it's called St. Mary's, just as an example, is seeing a daily lineup of hundreds of cars in 3 lanes, and it's a local warehouse that they run their food pantry out of, okay? And on an average, just say an average week, okay, there's some 1,000 cars that pass through that facility just for food. Yeah. And they said that every time we thought we hit a peak, okay, it just continues to grow. And here we are. And they said across our whole network, we've seen a 26% increase in the number of food and the number of people coming to us year over year over year. And they said that right now, Phoenix residents are having to shell out about 12.1% more on food than any other goods. And that is compared to what they are paying at the end of 2020. Now, the average, okay, the average is out to about $912 in addition to spending per month for the area residents. And this, the one local, okay, her name is Desiree. She started getting food support at St. Mary's, and this was after her home, the rent on her home, it skyrocketed. It skyrocketed to $1,450 a month. And turning down the lights and energy uses coupled with relying on St. Mary's for a little extra help is just to keep the family fed. So it's very important, she said, going to St. Mary's, because sometimes when she doesn't get the chance to go to St. Mary's, we start missing out on meals. She said, I won't eat. And when it comes down to it, when you have a family, okay, and you're that mom and you have your children, you're going to make your children eat before you eat. I'm that mom. And I know a lot of you are that parent, So this is just, it's getting bad again, and it's only going to get worse. So the question is now, okay, is inflation going to subside, or is it going to get worse with the coming year? Well, the price of gas, okay, it's also hitting families hard. I know that a lot of time, with a lot of us, gas is coming down in price, okay? But that's not going to stay that way. It's only going to rise back up again, okay? It remains to be seen what happens with gas and other prices in 2023. But I know from history, it's going to shoot right back up with gas, okay? The lines for food, we're going to see a lot more of that. And if any of you go to pantries, what is it like? See, the pantries around here where I live, you have to be a member of that church in order to go to that pantry. And the last time I went to a pantry, you're only allowed to go once every 3 months. And the food that I received, it was not something that I would consider to be food. I'm not, one to be complaining or anything like that, but have you ever received or ever eaten pig's feet? Yeah, that's the kind of food that I was given. And that's like a kick in the gut. You know what I mean? I wouldn't even feed that to my dogs. But yet they're trying to feed that to people. No, thank you. You know, so many people who show up for, the holiday, the lines, food banks, things like that. Okay. Even though the holidays are over, it still doesn't matter. The food lines, it's not like they're going to go down. Okay. They're really not. A lot of these people, they're first time visitors. Okay. They've never had to use a food bank. Okay. And this speaks in volume as to the dire straits that the state of the economy, when people who were previously living just fine are suddenly finding themselves in poverty. And, they're not going because they want to be there. It's because they have nowhere else to turn. And there's no shame in that. There's no embarrassment in that, It's the impact of the economic insecurity that's caused by inflation. And one of the reasons why, I will say this, one of the reasons why Phoenix, their inflation rate is substantially higher than the rest of the country has to do with its real estate market. Okay. And after CV-19, they had the federal government putting money into the economy. Okay. And like with the stimulus packages and whatnot. Okay. Then they had the Federal Reserve making borrowing almost nothing. And that allowed a lot of the investors to either move up in their homes or buy additional homes. And now that impact was more pronounced in the high growth areas that typically do well for investors. And of course, Phoenix is one of the, what do you want to call it? Places to live, I guess you could say. Just like, here we've got Tampa, Orlando. People want to live in those areas. Well, Phoenix is one of those areas that people want to live when it comes to Arizona, right? So, also, a lot of people are moving to Arizona from other states, especially during CV-19. And it helped drive up the demand and thus the prices. So when people go there, when people move there, the prices just shoot up for everything. So in turn, Phoenix, Arizona is going to have more of an impact with inflation. And that's the reason why, unfortunately. So that's all for this video, guys. You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping, and as always, you fear less. Ciao.